What's up, everybody? Today we're doing a podcast.
My name is Francisco. This is the Expedition Chronicles Tales of Adventures podcast, where we talk about experiences of travelers, just sharing a bit of their story.
Sweet. So today we're just going to talk a little bit about my journey, and some of you might know part of it from Hawaii, or if you picked me up from, I don't know, LA or Europe or now Bali, then maybe this can help fill you in just on a little bit how I'm kind of doing what I'm doing, because I don't delve into that too much.
Ty, just tell us a little bit about where you're from and just starting from there.
So I'm Ty. I'm 25, and I have just fell in love with traveling over the past couple of years. I'm actually a drone pilot. That's my core, and just so cool. Always wanted to travel the world and film it. And the camera thing was cool, but it was very oversaturated, and for me, it just wasn't everything that I wanted to do, filming or traveling rather. So I just started. I just sent it. Went to Hawaii for 6 months, built a portfolio, moved to LA to really round my skills out and refine. And then I went to Europe for 2 months, and now I landed in Bali, Indonesia. And I'm here for however long.
Okay, that's already a mission. I guess a lot of people would like to start doing those kind of things. And so you started traveling to Europe just recently, and why did you decide to do those things?
Yeah, Europe has always been a dream spot. Obviously, there's this fast-paced nature of just hitting all the different countries, just super exhilarating to me. And I love the adrenaline. That's why I do FPV. So it's oh, hop on a train, new bed every other night. That whole vibe is right up my alley. So Europe just seemed like a great fit. And it just timeline-wise, I just knew I was done with LA. I had a great experience, but I really just wanted the exotic travel nature side, and so I just sent it to Europe because I knew I was coming to Bali after. So
that's a mission. So you were studying in LA first, or
I was doing not school wise. I did school before Hawaii even. I wasn't even doing anything with camera stuff at the time, and then I went to Hawaii to I don't even know. I didn't even know why I went to Hawaii. I just knew I wanted to leave home,
Yeah, a little bit of intuition.
So then I went to LA because I knew some people there, and they're in the industry, and I was like, wow, it'd be cool to really learn how the industry works, really pick apart the business ideas that they have, and pick their brain on how to edit better, how to refine my skills. And that's really where I learned storytelling, and and that's why I'm pushing into the whole YouTube realm. So that's actually the core reason why I did Europe, or the focus of Europe rather, was to build out a 5-video series, which I'm premiering tomorrow actually.
Yo, Ty.
Crazy, it's crazy.
Tomorrow you're gonna do
tomorrow. First one goes up tomorrow. So just me traveling around with my drone, being me, just going crazy in different countries, filming crazy spots that probably FPV is so fresh to the market that most spots probably haven't seen the footage that I'm about to put out there. So
that's crazy. Already giving me goosebumps listening to that. So when you were thinking about all of this traveling, and you were thinking about creating different new things that the world has yet to see, but what were your expectations on first going to Europe and thank you, terima kasih.
Terima kasih.
Yes.
It's okay.
Perfect. Thank you. Suksumagek. Moali.
Terima kasih.
Oh, delicious. Thanks. So I guess you already a little break here.
Yeah, right.
For some tea. I was craving some tea.
That's pretty built up. Look at that.
Yeah, I got it here last time that I was here with Tony visiting, and I'm like, oh yes, I'm gonna definitely do this. But was this your first time in Europe?
This is my first time out of the country.
Alone.
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 I've done the family trips, but that's not traveling how I was traveling in Europe.
And I really like that thing, because I guess a lot of people want to travel alone too. Yeah. But they might be afraid of so many different things. And we were talking a few minutes ago about, we all experience the fear of unexpected things, and what I can hear and listen about you, you're on the contrary, you look
Yeah.
for those things, mainly because of your background as a child, being really into extreme sports.
Yep.
You did BMX, or maybe how did that start?
Yeah, so I think I've always been like adventurous, and I didn't know how to channel it. And then I found action sports, and I was like, oh, this is pretty good. And I just honed in on it. I was like, I'm gonna just ride my bike every day, BMX, you know.
And
like
how old were you when you started doing those things?
13. I went to the skate park with my friends, started jumping around like with my mountain bike, and then, Dad, can you buy me a bike?
Yeah.
You know, got a bike, broke it in like a month. I was like, Dad, can I get a real bike? And then, yeah, just every day, like going to the skate park, like learning everything I could, trying to spin around, doing flips and whips and grinding rails. And then it took me to Chicago. When I started to get older, I took the train and would drive into Chicago.
Oh,
That's where I'm from. I'm from Chicago.
Yeah.
And I would just go downtown, and we would just like ride all over the city.
What an epic
like,
place.
Stair sets, you know, handrails, walls, roofs, everything. Everything we could put our tires on, really.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you ever had a bad accident doing?
Yeah, I never broke any bones, but like I've sprained
Yeah.
like wrists and ankles and stuff. Hit my head a few times, but like nothing really that crazy.
Yeah.
You know, like the way I take risk is very like calculated, and I have to be like very confident. Where it's
love
like
that.
obviously you're gonna mess up, you're gonna hit yourself
Yeah.
and like hurt yourself.
Especially in
you know,
those kind
it's
of things,
like-
yeah.
Yeah, but it's like I kind of knew how to. That's like really what honed in on how to push my boundaries, like effectively and like safely. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that, which I'm so grateful, I think it translated so well to how I'm living life
Yeah,
now.
definitely.
You know what I mean?
Makes sense.
So
Yeah, exactly. The way you approach risk since you were a kid, it's more of a smart, intelligent, and strategic way to do, like analyze something and be like, okay, this
yeah,
are the possibilities, you know, and I'm kind of like taking a little.
yeah, I gotta be like 80% confident that it's gonna work, like at
love
least,
that.
like minimum. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the way also you did when you were analyzing your travelings, because, well, you started first traveling, even the Hawaii thing, that was a mission. And I
Yeah.
guess like also
Yeah.
was by yourself. not
Exactly, yeah.
And also you told me it was in the middle of COVID. Like that was also a mission, man. Like, so how was that?
Yeah, so
the whole
I
setup, like.
I went to school, I was going to college for engineering, like nonetheless. So it was like something like totally out of like left field, which like I honestly,
cool, man.
it took me a long time. Like even a couple of years ago, I didn't even think of myself as creative
Dude,
at all, which is
yo,
crazy.
this is so inspiring, really.
Yeah, like I'm an engineer. That's how I think. I know I'm
Holy
different.
shit, Tyler.
The thing that made it different was I was not afraid to step outside the box of normalcy, and I would just try everything I could.
Yeah.
And I figured out what worked, and I figured out what didn't. And what works is what like I felt looked cool, and that's like kind of how I developed my style. I learned and was inspired by others that were, you know, big in the industry, like the filmmaking world and everything like that. Like
Maybe
McKinnon and Sam Kohler. Those.
Who was one of your inspirations that you were like, this?
Yeah. Well, Sam Kohler's the reason I wanted to do the travel stuff, right? So I took that and I'm like, well, I don't even care to do the filming. Like I do like the camera stuff, but like I'm like, oh, I like to do FPV, which I got from Johnny FPV.
No way.
So it's like I'm just like pulling all these
That's
like
so
different, like things together and like mashing them together and like, you know, just people that inspire you and like product, like Daniel Schiffer does product stuff like the Toronto Boys, Peter McKinnon, the big names, you know, that teach you how to do like the little effects and stuff. And you're like, oh, how could I use that in this way?
Yeah.
And then there's like the whole comedy side of people, like Trevor Wallace is freaking hilarious, but like I like to be a little bit more like family friendly than that. So it's like I'm just pulling from all these different sources and I just make what I feel looks the best and feels the best for me in my product. So that was kind of like me going to Hawaii was because I got into FPV and I was like, I was doing the school thing, working, and I was like, I don't want to do this forever. You know, like most of a lot of people here, honestly, it's a very similar story. And I just was like, I was working for our family business and I was like, Dad, this is great. I'm very grateful for this opportunity. But a year before I left, I was like, Dad, I quit in a year. Not even knowing, because the world was on lockdown.
Dude,
I'm not vaccinated, so I didn't
story.
know if it was gonna work or not. I just knew that I wanted to leave. And there's throughout like working and living that corporate lifestyle, I actually learned that there's like always a solution to every problem. Like the job that I was in, and especially seeing my dad like work because it's his business, like he had to figure out a solution for every issue. And it was like so inspiring to me in a sense where it was like, there's always an answer. It doesn't matter what you throw it. What Amazon? It was with Amazon.
It's a champions mentality.
Yeah, exactly. And it was like Amazon's a huge company, so they'll throw a bunch of stuff at you, and you're like, how am I going to figure this out? And he would always have a solution. It was always creative. It was always unique. It was always like, how did you even think of that? I thought it was the end. Like so many times. So I just took that and applied it to what I wanted to do, which was travel, filming, editing, and which honestly just stacked. And that's why I'm even here, because in Hawaii, I didn't know how to put a story together super well. You know,
so how was it? How was
Hawaii?
The weather, the food, the culture,
Hawaii.
How people are
was the happiest I've ever been. I kid you not. Like that's to date. Like I did not know that I could be that happy. And part of it was me just going out and venturing, but like the other part was seeing the beauty of the world. I was coming from the Midwest, which is like cornfields and flat, and I've seen, you know, pretty places, but like to really go be absorbed by such a
expansion of mind.
Yeah, it was crazy. Wow. So there's all these new things going on, and like it like rains a little bit here, but like even when it rains, like I'm just like smiling, like dancing in the rain. Like that's the vibe of Hawaii. It was very just like a lot of action adventure, because there's like big waves, scary like cliffs and whatever, but it's also like super serene and peaceful and beautiful. And like every part of that island looks beautiful.
Oh
you know
man,
what I mean? Like it's crazy. It's I would love to go back, and like I'm like tempted to go live there, but it's also very relaxed, where it's like, okay, I'm not going to do a bunch of work, and I know that I want to build a career. So it was kind of this weird in between. But during that time, and I didn't even know what I was doing at the time. I was just like, I gotta fly my drone and capture cool content, which is where everybody starts. I was like, I'll just build a portfolio, I guess. So that's essentially what happened. It was very stressful too. Don't get me wrong. Where I was like, how do I do this? How do I make this a career? I don't know. Like I just want to fly my drone. Like what the heck? And and I ended up building a pretty solid portfolio, because FPV was pretty new at the time. You know, people didn't fully know what it was yet.
Well, still today is not like, of course, it's not like maybe a few years ago, but still today, not a lot of people really do that. It takes a lot of skill, knowledge to like maybe explain a little for the people on the podcast, because that's a whole mission to do.
Exactly. So I should explain, like FPV drones are basically a high performance version of like a Mavic or like a GPS or the drones that everybody uses and knows.
It's like
you wear goggles with them. They're the racing ones. If you've seen like DRL or the TV shows that do that. Yeah, it really is. You feel like a nerd flying it, but it's also like this really cool tool that these things go 80 miles an hour, 160 kilometers an hour, or whatever it is. They go, I've gotten my 6-inch over 100 miles an hour. Like they go fast, and then you can flip them upside down in like an instant, and you can just rock them into the ground. So you really have to like take time to like learn how to work with the machines. So
how far can they go?
Depends. So if you're in open air, like pretty far, they advertise like, I don't know, maybe a kilometer or two. That's pretty far.
That is super far. Like
I don't know. Because most of the time you're flying under trees or like really close to the ground, so your signal's blocked a lot, and the batteries only last 5 minutes. So it's like,
oh shit.
Yeah, they're made for just
5 minutes.
Power.
They can go a kilometer. Like maybe.
Oh yeah, you can make it a kilometer.
What the hell?
I mean, you can go if you're going 80 miles an hour. Shoot, but then you're going to drain your battery quicker. So it's like this really weird balance. Okay. So yeah, that's what an FPV drone is, and it was very, very new at the time for strapping cameras on. They've been around for a while, but people just started to strap like GoPros on them like at that time, maybe a little bit before that. So I had to explain what I was doing to most people, and it was that fresh. Which like nowadays people know what it is. You know, like, oh, I fly FPV drones. They're like, oh, okay, yeah, that's cool. But no one really does it still. It's like,
and how were the reactions of people there also?
Oh, mind blown, bro.
Like they're like, what are you gonna do? Like, what?
Yeah, it's crazy. One of the coolest things I did for portfolio was I walked in this helicopter place and I said, hey, this is what I do. I showed him what I did, and I said, I want to throw this drone out of your helicopter because no one's ever done this. And he's like, asked me a few questions, like, well, what frequency are you on? Like, and I had all the right answers, and like, you know, just like made sure it was like, I know I can do this safely. I know how to do it. I know how to execute it. And I was able to display that to him. And then he saw the footage and he was like,
oh my God,
okay, I'll see you Friday. That's what it turned into. Yeah, I kid you not. That's how that happened. I kid you not.
Oh man, and how did you come up with that idea, man? What the hell?
Okay, so, well, that's like going back in the story now. If we want to regress. So what actually like put me on the map, and actually probably a lot of people on YouTube know me for, is because I was in Hawaii and I lost a drone in a waterfall, like a super sick, famous waterfall.
Yeah.
And crashed there, lost the drone. And a month later, it was underwater for a month. A diver, a famous YouTube social media diver, found it.
No way.
I was gonna go dive like 2 days after he found it and like try to get it. But he's like, hey, does anybody know who this is? Posted on a story. Somebody sent it to me. I was like, yo, that's mine. He's like, let me pull you in for an interview. And I was like, all right, I'm gonna thank you somehow. Like I was thinking that in my head. I was like, how can I thank him? I was like, why don't I just take him in a helicopter ride to the same waterfall?
No way, dude.
And then to get that covered monetary wise, like financially, I was like, hey, I'll give you the footage to the helicopter company. So like, if you can let me do this. So it was like this like weird pulling
what
string.
A genius.
Yeah, crazy, right? It was like the craziest thing I've ever done.
What a genius.
At that time. So I was like, how the hell did this work?
Very creative, dude. What the fuck? That was amazing. Yeah.
Super crazy. That worked out. It only took like I walked in like 3 helicopter places. They were like the third one. So it was like the fact that I just drove like an hour into Honolulu. I was like, hey, this is what I want to do. And they're like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe. And then I was like, I'm just going to the next one.
Yeah.
And like the next one, the third one was like, yeah, let's do it. I'm like, what? That's why I love Hawaii. That feels on brand for Hawaii. Yeah. Yeah, it was crazy.
Dude, it really says a lot about committing to something in your life. Like being like, I have this goal. I want to do this. And then just like, maybe you do it, you try it the first time and they're like, nah. Or maybe, okay, doesn't matter. I want to do this. I still want to do this and I'm going to do it.
Yep.
And you were believing in yourself. You were confident that you could do it and then somehow you were going to do it and life maybe test you a little bit. Like, oh yeah. Yeah, you still want to do it even though like somebody just said no?
Roadblocks.
Yeah, exactly. I like that a lot.
Yeah, that was an interesting time. Yeah.
And you spent some time there in Hawaii. And how was it? Would you say it's a bit different than United States?
Like mainland?
Mainland?
Yes. Yeah, very.
Even like the people, the way people interact, would you say like...
Everyone's happier there.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I find, and everyone's kind of like fit too, which I thought was interesting. There's basically...
Hey, those two things, of course, they...
Yeah, what I attributed it to is you're 2,500 miles from anything.
Yeah.
So it's like you had to leave behind a lot to get there.
Yeah.
Like you pretty much had to leave like everything. So I think that mindset carries through and that brings a certain type of people there that at least were living there that weren't from there. And that's like kind of who I was interacting with.
Yeah, that's certainly true.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing, the location of a place.
Yeah.
The people that either gets attracted or are attracted to that place, that location. Like you said, also Bali, Indonesia.
Yeah.
There's a certain type of people that, are feeling drawn to go to that place. And you might have, or all the people here, they have something similar that they're looking for, the same as in Hawaii, I guess, that there's people and they have like things in common that they're like, oh yeah, we kind of think and feel the same way.
Yeah.
And
it's different. It really opened my eyes to like how people perceive and enjoy life. Because back in the Midwest, it was like, it's kind of like negative, to be honest.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, it's really sad. Like, and a lot of people that I talk to just have that, like, that's how they view back home, is like, oh, I don't really want to go back because it's just kind of this weird overtone of like, like life is just like work and like you get to play here and there. And like, it's very like, it's like dimmed down from what life actually could be. And that's what I saw in Hawaii, is what life actually could be. So, and that's kind of like same with Bali and honestly LA too. Like the people that leave and sacrifice everything to get what they want, to really pursue it.
Such a way.
There's something so beautiful about that mindset, because then you're just surrounded by that, and everyone's just pushing together for the best version of themselves and to be successful. Whatever that looks like for them. So I see that mindset now more than anything. So it's super jarring to go back home and be like surrounded by like Midwest mindset, or just back home mindset rather. I don't think it's just the Midwest.
Yeah, definitely. Getting goosebumps. Because you can just to think about that, because when you say that, yeah, exactly. You leave everything. That means you sacrifice that life, and that's a saying. I'll check who said that, but I like that phrase a lot. To get the life that you want, you have to sacrifice the life that you have.
So much, bro.
And that's so true. Also, you're going to a new place. You're going to Hawaii. You're going to Indonesia, Europe, LA, and well, you don't know what's going to happen there. It could be bad, or it could be, but the honest thing is that it's full of opportunities, depending on how you see things. But wow, I like that a lot.
Yeah.
So you stayed there in Hawaii for a bit.
Yep.
You stayed there for a few months, 7 months?
Yeah, 6 months, 7 months.
6 months,
right
7 months, and just getting full of all that energy, of all that mindset of the people there until, and that's another thing that I like about what you're telling me, the intuition that you have is so powerful, but the coolest thing is that you follow your intuition. I love that. I think a lot of people, also I'm talking to myself in this way, to follow your intuition when you feel like you have to do something, and then just to follow that thing, there's a little thing calling you, and then in your case was like, hey, maybe going to LA is the way, maybe that subconscious mind, something in the intuition, then you follow it. And then what happened?
So it's really interesting how your intuition and just the laws of nature, just how things naturally play out, like really blend together. It's a very beautiful thing. How that like laces together. So Hawaii, I had to leave because I had to go be in a wedding. I was standing up in a wedding. And I knew that I didn't want to leave Hawaii because it was literally like the happiest I've ever been. And
wow, that was
I
that
cried.
was another test,
bro.
dude.
I cried.
That was another
Hawaii. I was so sad,
dude.
But I knew that I just knew that I knew that I knew that I had to go. It was the weirdest thing. It was the weirdest thing because I knew I wanted to land in Bali for a while.
Yeah.
So.
That was a paradise.
Yeah, it was weird. It was a weird knowing. So I had some friends online, never met them, but I was like, hey, like I'm gonna be stopping through at LA, on a layover back to Chicago. Like maybe I spent
never
a few
met
days.
them. Like also
Yeah, bro.
What an adventure.
And they were like, yeah, come through, blah blah blah. And they live in this apartment with like 3 bedrooms, and there's like 8 people in there. Like they pack themselves in. It's crazy. It's in like Marina Del Rey, super nice like spot. And I just met the whole crew, bonded with them. They're so genuine, so welcoming. They're all like in the industry. Like I kid you not, like working with like Justin Bieber, Red Bull, Nike, like all the top names. Like they've done it. You know what I mean? It's crazy.
Wow.
And I was like, whoa, I didn't think that people this welcoming and genuine were in LA at the time, because I've been a couple times and I was like, I don't like LA, why would I ever want to come back? So met them and I was like, well, I don't want to live back in Chicago, and if I go back to Hawaii, I'm never leaving. So 24 hours, I was there for 24 hours with these people, and they're like, hey, one of them was like, my aunt's got a spot opening up, she has a room if you want it. So a month later I was like, all right, I'm back in LA, moved there. I lived there for 7 months with this dude's aunt.
Dude.
Yeah, she was sweet lady.
What
a Bolivian
hell?
lady.
Cool,
Picked up some Spanish un poco.
Okay, muy bien, perfecto.
So, and then I was just over hanging out with them a lot. Had some LA, it has a travel side, but it's very much business work, people focused. Like, how can we strategize to work with this name or this brand or this whatever? And that's awesome. But it was just not the realm that I wanted to be in at the time. I had some crazy opportunities. I had some crazy stories. One of those is coming out. I snuck a drone into a concert and like got fined $1,500, and we're like, can we get the footage back? And then they're like, hey, give us the footage. It's like this, I'm in Hollywood in this like record label with like Cardi B's name on the wall and like all these like crazy people. I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna get screwed. And then,
oh my God.
Yeah, it's crazy. And then like I had to like, the only leverage I had was the footage. So I was like, hey, buy it. So like I had to work with like Jake, it was Jake, JVKE. So for Golden Hour, I like literally flew around America. It was this whole crazy story, story. Basically saw how crazy Hollywood can be. And I was like, okay.
Wow, dude.
It's crazy. So that's a whole other story, not really travel focused, but that video is coming out in a week or 2, something like that. So crazy, bro.
Yeah.
But at that time, that was like January of this year. And I was kind of like, okay, I think I've like learned a lot about, you know, video creation and business and like how it could actually look. And I've never felt ready to go to the next step, but I always know when I'm ready enough. Okay. And that's where I was. You're always just like within reach of being ready. Yeah. But I was like, well, why not just go to Bali now? Like, I'm single, like I'm young enough, like I could afford the risk. Like, why not? Let's just go make it happen. And so I planned this whole like Europe adventure in between so that I could like, you know, do like a couple months here and like really like get out some travel feels because I was so excited to just get back out in the world, you know, because I was like locked in LA. It's like kind of like a concrete jungle. I just felt like so like kept, you know, I just wanted to be out there living. Yeah. And that's when I went to do I did a 5 video series and just loving it, bro. Just out there. I was literally by myself making videos just like every day. Would get up for sunrise, set up the camera on a tripod at a spot and like do something, like tell stories. Like I was really just, it was like 2 months of just being in my own world of just like, how can I lace this story together? And I actually think it laces all 5 videos into one big story because you just see me transform throughout, but each video is like palatable for each video. Like it makes sense that you see like, oh, like France, I'm very excited to be back out in the world. So it's a bunch of just like, you know, like crazy things and funny, silly things that I think of in the moment. And I'm in like Vegas, like being like, oh, I made it to the Eiffel Tower. And it's like, wrong one, you know, just like stuff like that. So yeah, I had this really intense foresight and I had so much time alone where I was able to just focus on how can I make this the best product I can. How
powerful.
And my main tool is drones, FPV drones. So I was able to just pivot it around that. And it was like, oh, I'm going to go to the Disney castle, for example, and like film it and the Legend of Zelda bridge, you know, that's like, I'm going to fly through that, like all these like crazy things. Dude. And then it just showcases my personality through and like what I'm kind of thinking and going through as a solo traveler through Europe, you know, first time being out of the country too, or out of the continent, alone. And
how did you feel? Like, what were your thoughts? Of course, excitement, but you know, a bit of the fear that can come with that.
Oh, of course, so many ups and downs, bro. I'm solo traveling. It's bound to happen. You know, you have low lows, but you have like the highest highs ever. You know, it's like I go to France and I'm just excited. First video, so stoked. Everything was just high energy, super stoked. It's very like, pow, 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 you know, like new spot, like crazy. I'm in Paris, I'm renting cars and they're stick shift and I'm like figuring it out. And just like driving around like northern France and seeing crazy things. I'm like, like this is what I missed about life.
Wow,
you know? Dude, And then I went to Spain after that. In Spain, I was starting to kind of feel a little bit lonelier, right? You know, you're kind of like, okay, like I've been here like a couple weeks, and you're like, okay, like I am just in my head, like kept up. So it was really cool how it just kind of like worked out. Like it felt like God was like, hey, there's people that like around you that are feeling the same. And I kid you not, like I've had this thought, I was like, wow, I'm like kind of lonely. And like the next day I was filming in the morning and somebody came up to me, she's like, hey, like, that's really cool. What are you doing? And we had breakfast. She's a lovely soul. Like, it was so crazy. And the whole video was like positioned around me feeling lonely. And this was in Sevilla, Spain. So I'm in like southern Spain. And like in the city with like all these people that I'm like, I feel alone. And then I take like a bus ride to go to the bridge, because that was the whole point, was to get to the bridge. And I'm filming the bridge. And then this person comes up to me. I kid you not, there's 3 people back to back to back.
No way.
In that video, in that I was Ronda, Spain. In that city, 3 people like within like 2 days were just like, hey, like what are you doing? And I just like would connect with them. And it was just like I had breakfast with the girl that came up to me, and there was a dude flying another drone, and we'd like got to talk for a little bit. He's from China, and then somebody in my Airbnb who's like, oh, what's FPV? And he's like looking all into it. He like invited me to the back office. Like it was like the most wild turn of events ever, right? Because it was like so lonely. Here you go. It was like God was just like, here's the answer. And I was like, oh, okay, cool.
Wow, that's really powerful.
It's crazy how like life just works out when you put yourself out there.
Definitely,
you know, it's absurd.
Definitely.
Yeah.
You were getting into that position, of course, and loneliness, that feeling, can be overwhelming.
Yeah, the food in Spain is great. I still don't really know what tapas are, to be
Yeah.
honest, but they're like literally on every menu. They're like appetizers, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, food's great. I love the people of Spain.
Yeah.
The people were fantastic. But the most jarring thing,
Yeah.
I showed up, and as an American, what I saw,
This is
I saw a bunch of people dressed up in KKK uniforms, like with the point and everything, in all different colors too, not just white, not just black, like purple, blue, yeah, and they're marching around the city,
You're
with,
like,
war
whoa,
drums,
what?
and they're carrying floats, and I'm like, what is going on?
Yeah,
here?
you're like, well, everybody, like,
It's like,
what,
do you see this?
what the hell?
So it turns out it's their Holy Week, Semana Santa is what they call it.
Nice Spanish, nice accent.
Gracias.
Hey.
Gracias.
Hey, there you go.
Spain accent. And
No, you're good.
muchas gracias. Yeah, so they're dressed up in these off-putting uniforms to an American.
Yeah.
And it turns out the KKK actually copied them. So they brought it to America and like stole the idea
Dude, I
from
didn't
them.
know that shit.
I don't know exactly where the inspiration comes
Yeah.
from and why, but I know that that's the turn of events that happened.
Wow.
So yeah, it's
Yeah, because
not,
it is a Catholic. It's a Catholic thing.
It's like Catholic
also, yeah.
roots or something.
Yeah. Whoa.
So yeah, it was super interesting to see how they actually celebrate their holidays. And
so funny,
the
man.
roads, everything is packed. Like you have the people in the uniforms, and then they're like they make like a wall, and they're just blocking the whole intersection. I was just trying to cross the street.
Yeah.
And there's like people all around you, and
Wow,
you
what
can't
an
get through.
experience.
Yeah, it was really cool.
Yeah.
It was really, really cool. I love Spain so much. My
Wow.
favorite country in Europe.
Yo,
Yeah.
that's so cool.
I really love Spain.
Yeah.
So yeah, then met the people. And where'd I head after that? I actually bounced around for a little bit. I stopped the filming thing and went back to LA for a gig,
Okay.
which was cool. It's not really a travel thing. It was just a festival, flying, whatever.
Yeah.
And then I actually met my parents out in the Canary Islands,
Nice.
which was kind of just like a chill time. I actually got sick. So it's kind of like I was battling like health a lot in Europe because I was just pushing myself so hard to get a bunch of content done.
That's interesting.
Yeah, so I was battling health a
to-
lot. Ate some bad chicken, was throwing up like
No
9
way.
yards. But yeah, so I was like, I didn't really do too much in the Canaries. I just kind of spent some time with the fam. I did get scuba certified with my dad, which was cool.
Dude, congratulations.
Yeah, very stoked on that.
Yo,
Very
what the
stoked on
hell?
that. So,
So your dad is also an adventurer.
kinda. I think I made him an adventurer. Honestly,
Yeah, you probably inspire him so much,
I
man.
think so. I think it's what
Holy
it is. Like
shit.
I've seen him like open his eyes to like nature and traveling and hiking.
Dude, that's so
and stuff like that,
wonderful.
which is really cool.
Really,
Yeah.
like, that's really cool.
Yeah. So then after that, I went to where'd I go? Amsterdam. Amsterdam, I have a lot of mixed feelings for it. I loved it overall, but the red light district like turns my stomach, bro.
All right.
Because it's like, okay, like, you know, you think, oh, it's a bunch of like, you know, prostitutes and windows, and it's like, oh, it's like almost like a tourist attraction,
Yeah.
and it's like the most busy I've seen Amsterdam. I feel like it's like one of the most busier spots.
Yeah.
And it's so off-putting as a male being their target audience.
Yeah.
That like these girls, some of them are really attractive, like IG model level, and it's like this weird juxtaposition that it puts people in that it's like, I don't know how to feel right now
Yeah.
because it feels dark, it feels weird, it's so trafficked, and then like, you know, they're like waving you over in their windows, and it's just like this really weird.
Wow.
Because you know what's going on. It's
Yeah, yeah.
it's so in your face.
And it's, I was listening, someone was telling me just a few days ago that there's some actual like human trafficking going on there.
Yeah,
Like real hardcore, like kind of like they.
I'm sure. Yeah,
They
I think
kind of like trick the girls from Ukraine or something like that, and then they
Yeah.
get them there. No, we're gonna pay you this amount, and then they're like, no, actually you're not gonna. Wow. So you
Yeah.
felt the vibe, like it was.
It just, it was like really uncomfortable. Like the first night I went, I like was walking back and I was like, because you have to go see it. You
Yeah.
know, like it's one of like Amsterdam's biggest things.
Yeah.
Realistically, so but it was just weird. It's just weird vibes.
Wow.
It was interesting to say the least. I actually that was the most uncomfortable I ever felt filming. And
Oh, you were filming that section? Oh shit.
that was the plan. Okay, before everyone freaks out here, I went to go. I had this idea
Yeah.
to go hold up a green light in the red light district
Okay.
So I wasn't filming any of the girls. I wasn't doing any of that. I just wanted to put my camera on a tripod with like red lights. Like it didn't even have to be in the red light district. I just wanted to be like, oh, Amsterdam, like this is where I'm at, kind of idea. And just have like a weird contrast that I can like add a voiceover.
Yeah.
Anyway, I go there the first night. There's way too many people. Like I'm not even pulling out my camera. I'm not doing anything.
Yeah.
Like it would just get knocked over. Like there was literally so many people.
Wow.
But I found the spot I wanted to film. It's like these like red lights like lining the alleyway. And like there's girls in the windows, but you don't see them unless if you're like aiming the camera that way. So I was like, okay, well, I just need to face it this way, get the shot, get out. But I was alone. So I was like, oh my gosh, like this is no way, screw this shot, like scrap it, not worth it. And then I ended up meeting some people there, and I was like, hey, this is my idea. If you guys are down, I'm like, yeah, sure, we'll go help. Like we're gonna go see it anyway. And then they like ended up like going with me, and I pull out my camera, and like you start like people are like giving you looks and whatever. But like the security was like, hey, just don't film the girls. You're good. I'm like, okay, thanks. So like it's okay.
Also, like maybe a lot of people do that.
Yeah,
but
like,
they just don't.
Yeah, like I mean, people all have their phones out, and like you can. It's a pretty like it's interesting to see like the lights in the canal, you know, because they have a ton of canals there and stuff. So it's okay that you can film there, but it just the social pressure behind it is like, whoa, when you have a camera out. So
yeah,
like,
I can imagine.
And then I'm going there and I'm literally like walking in the midst of everybody, and I'm just holding up a green ass light, like so bright.
Oh my God.
I had to straight face it because I'm just gonna put like a title card on it. Like I'm not gonna like say anything. I just need it for like writing it. I hated it, bro. I hated it so much. It was like the most uncomfortable I've ever felt.
Ty.
Yeah, it's not fun.
Amsterdam.
Other than that, beautiful city. Love the canals. I was there for tulip season. They have like the world leading export of tulips. Yeah, something like, and it's crazy. They have crazy beautiful just the fields of tulips that I have out there, where it's a rainbow on the ground. Where you're like you drive out to like Keukenhof was like the main tulip field thing. Wow. And I just like, I want to surf the field of tulips and like get like maybe a Dutch windmill in there. Yeah. Beautiful scene. So beautiful. Wow. Yeah, it's like late April, I think, early May. Yeah. Yeah, because I was there 420. I ended up in Amsterdam on 420. Dude, what the Didn't realize.
Did you smoke a J?
No. I don't smoke or anything. Okay. But I ended up in a coffee shop trying to drink an espresso, and they're just like, all this smoke around me. I'm just sitting in the back, like
getting high just from
just secondhand, I guess. I was like, I just wanted some coffee. It's like 2 PM. I'm like, okay, Amsterdam, 420.
Oh my God.
So it was also called The Plug. I should have known what I was getting myself into. So yeah, it was fun though. I really enjoyed Amsterdam. It's a poppin' city. Yeah. But then that led me to Venice. I didn't even expect to go to Venice because the canals. Yeah. Like Amsterdam is full of canals. They're beautiful. And I was like, I want to see the real ones.
Oh like, my God, dude, Ty.
In Amsterdam, they're brown. So I was like, well, why don't I just make an addition to the YouTube video and like just go to like the real canals. That'll be like a cool story piece.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And I just want to see Venice. Yeah. Venice was a sleeper spot. I did not expect to be like how cool it was. Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah. Venice is sick.
What?
It's not like crazy big. There's not a heck of a lot to explore, but it's like all these like red top buildings with like teal blue water. And it was like, wow, this is like a really cool concept. You just get lost in the alleyways and the different canals and bridges and stuff. It was a really, really cool experience. And you could go to the different islands and they're a little bit different. Some have like colorful houses and stuff like that. It's really, really cool.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it was a really cool experience.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, so I ended up in Venice. Lost a drone in Venice, actually.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so RIP, drone number, I don't even know how many at this point. Yeah, so, but it was fun. Shit. It was a great experience. And then just throughout traveling that much, that quickly, that, solo.
Yeah. You were like doing it.
Yeah.
All in.
Yeah, full force editing or full force traveling and filming. And I started to kind of feel the effects of it, like slowly creep in. Yeah. I was in Italy at that point, so northern Italy, and I was like, and there's this guy that's going base jumping, and he's like, yo, you should come out and film it. And I was like, okay, it's perfect for FPV. That's one of my core things that I'm making my video about, right? Base jumping with FPV. And I was like, hey, can you do tandem base jumping? And then he's like, yeah, I think so. This guy's like super famous, like world class. He's like, he takes people all the time. I was like, would he let me fly the drone around us base jumping? Like, I'm going to put the goggles on and jump. And he's like, ask him. So he sent me his WhatsApp. I asked him and he's like, yeah, I'll be there on the 29th. I think this is feasible. And I said, great. And so I had like a week or so to kill before I went up there. And I ended up going to Milan just to relax. And I was just like chilling in Milan, but I was like starting to really feel like, okay, this is a lot. Like I'm gonna go jump off a cliff. Like no one's ever done that. No one's ever base jumped and flew FPV around themselves base jumping. You know what I mean? So, and
what the hell were you thinking, Tyler?
I am not here to play anymore.
No, yeah, I can see that. Oh shit!
Yeah, I'm here to
revolutionize that.
Yeah, I'm here to change the game.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm in Milan, and I'm filming just like casually, but I'm like kind of burnt out at this point. And a few days go by, I'm like, okay, well, I have to go. Like I can't not film this video. Like this one in specific, I have to go. I have to go now because like it's just that important.
Yeah, yeah, of course.
So I go up, and it's a few hour train ride from Milan, and I'm thinking like, what am I doing, man? This is like, am I even ready for this? And again, I've never been fully ready, but like I've done enough adrenaline things to be like, okay, I can do it. Like I've skydived before, and like I've done that whole thing. So it feels like everything in my life, yeah, it's fun and crazy, and like, why is you're skydiving? Like what the heck? But I'm like bungee jumping or whatever. It's like, no, but this has a purpose. This is leading to something bigger. So I'm like, one day I'm gonna push the boundaries on everything.
Oh my God, dude.
So I'm like, okay, I've jumped out of a plane enough times to know like I'm comfortable with heights. It's fine. I've like climbed buildings in Chicago, stuff like that. So it's like heights don't scare me anymore. I know how to fly FPV. I know like what is okay. I've flown around people base jumping and parachutes. So it's like, I'm ready enough. I did not feel like 100%, but I was like 95, good enough. Let's go. So I take the train ride up, and I'm like, okay, all right, just one video. And then I end up in Greece on like a shoot for something. And I was like, then I could chill. And I could chill in Greece. So I'm going up and like get the Airbnb, and it's like it's not as easy to get around that area as Lago di Garda.
Okay.
And it's because it's not as popularized, right? Popularized. It's like at the pre-Dolomites.
Okay.
So you're in the mountains. It's like a really known spot for base jumping, like 1,000-meter cliff or something like absurdly huge.
Dude.
So it's like super safe for base jumping. Like it's super practical for what I want to do.
Oh my God, I'm getting my hands are ready just thinking about it.
So I show up to the Airbnb, and everyone's like super kind. I swear, like people are just so kind in like foreign countries, right? And like the guy is like friends with him. My Airbnb host is like, oh yeah, that's Maximo. He's like, yeah, he's like a world-class base jumper. He does this, like he takes people all the time. And I was like, oh, sick. So I was like eating dinner with him, and nice guy. And
nice. And what did you have for dinner?
Oh, what did I have for dinner? I think I had steak. He was like a bougie Italian guy. He had some wine. He's like, you like wine? And he said some name that I didn't know. And then I was like, yeah, I like wine. So he like poured me a glass, and I just like swirled it, smelled it, looked at the legs. It's like, I feel Italian.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, bro, it was great. And then, go to bed, and you see the mountain. It's right there. I'm like a mile from where I have to be in the morning. And I wake up, and I'm like, okay, today's the day. Let's go see how this goes. Yeah. And I go there, and it's like before the sun comes up, because like they don't want, wind is a big factor for air sports. And I'm walking on the road. It's like a mile that I had to walk, and there's not really a sidewalk, and like cars are flying by. I'm like, oh my gosh, all those little things that normally aren't important, like are like, okay, like, stop it. Like the intensity is like, I'm feeling it. And I get there like, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 a.m., whatever it was. And we had to hike like an hour to get up there. So we drive for like 30 minutes, and we had to hike to get up there because there was some festival or mountain bike thing going on. So it's like, okay, now we have to hike and spend more physical energy, which normally should be fine, but I didn't eat breakfast. So we're hiking. And I'm like, dude. Wow, I really should have grabbed something, because I was just like a little wobbly, okay. And like when I set my mind on something, especially of that scale, where like no one's done that, so I'm like, I'm doing this. I don't care if I drop dead. I'm doing this. Yeah. So I'm hiking, and we stop at this clearing, and I see these beautiful mountains, like absolutely serene aesthetic with like forest, and we're like on the edge of a hill, and it was just so beautiful.
Wow.
But the mountains were like shifting. You know what I mean? Like, you know how you get like lightheaded, and like you see like things like warble a little bit.
Wow. Dude.
So what I did was I just boxed it out of my mind. I turned down and I just kept hiking, because it's like at this point I'm almost to the top. I'm not doing this.
Oh my God, man! You were pushing the boundaries, dude.
Yeah, I was literally pushing myself, like even my own capabilities.
Yeah.
I could have done this smarter.
Maybe a cliff bar or something.
Yeah, like it would have been smart. But we get to the top, and there's people with wingsuits, and it's how it feels up there. It's this really interesting confrontation with fear that you feel. You feel it in the air, because you have people with wingsuits and getting ready, and it's so quiet, like not a bird, not wind, not anything. It's just serene. And you're watching somebody stand at the edge of this cliff with this suit on, not saying a word. And they're standing there for like 30 seconds. And you don't want to say anything because they're about to jump off this cliff.
Oh my God.
And it's like, you can hear maybe them breathing. It's like 1, 2,
fuck no,
3. And you just see them start to lean and just fully commit and just jump. And they disappear below the cliff. You don't see them again until they like come like out, you know, like till they go like out past where you can actually see them again. And then you see them pull their chute, and you're like, wow, like it's crazy. It's like, it's the wildest thing. And I see these people jump, and I'm like, okay,
dude,
let's do this blindfolded.
Yeah, let's do this blindfolded, man. Fuck.
So my guy is the world-class base jumper is setting up on the edge of this cliff. He sets like the standing platform, and we have another guy like to film a second angle, and I'm budget doing this, right? I'm just like, hey, this is what I got. Like, I just need to film as many angles as I can. I have a 360 cam on my helmet. I have a GoPro like literally clipped, hoping that it doesn't fall off my chest strap. And then I have the drone up in the air. Like, that's the plan. And it's like not the best angles, but it's all I could do. It's all I could do right now. Like, I'm about to pass out. Like, please. So we get to the edge of the cliff, and he sets up, and we're up there for like 10, 15 minutes, and like too much time for me to think. But I'm like, it was almost good that I was like drowsy or whatever that feeling is, because it's just like, I'm just like so mentally over caring that it's like, of course I'm jumping off this cliff. Like, let me just jump right now.
Oh my God.
So, and I had to be in that mental space. I had to be, I had to box myself in there. So we get to the edge of the cliff, and he hooks me in. And we're like, okay, let's put the goggles on, make sure the goggles are all good. And then the other guy was pressing record, starts filming with his phone, and we turn. And like, I can't see anything. I'm blindfolded, like looking off just to like, wherever my drone sees, which is like off the side.
That's so crazy.
But I know that we're turning, and I'm facing the edge of the cliff. I can see like a little bit by my nose. I'm like, okay, I'm on the edge. I can feel it. Like, this is where we're at. Stop thinking. Here we go. And he's like, okay, you all good? And I said, yeah, let me take off, get in position. And once you take the drone off, you're not landing it there, So it's like, okay, it's almost like a nice flow where it's like, okay, well, I have to do it. So take the drone off, and it's like rocky. So it's like, you can't really land it back up top. So, and I have 3, 4, or 5 minutes of battery life, which is like the whole base jump is like 5 minutes long. So I'm like, okay, I really have to be efficient. Once I take off, get in position, we're going.
Fuck.
So we're literally ready to base jump. He's like, are you ready to base jump? I'm like, yes, because I legally have to do that because you're going to, like, you might die. And I was like, yes, I'm ready to base jump. He's like, okay, get in position. Fly the drone over, and I just see this death drop below us. You see us at the top, and you just see the edge of the cliff, and it's just, it's like serene. And all you hear is the drone in the background, correct? Because it's silent, but you just hear the drone. I'm like, okay. And my mind goes into this like virtual reality world, like the metaverse or whatever, because like I'm playing a video game. In my mind, to do this, I'm playing a video game. So I'm just like looking at us standing on the cliff. I'm already feeling it. And I'm like, oh, I'm just playing GTA, whatever. And I'm like, okay, like you give the countdown and I'm gonna time the drone around it. And I was like, I'm not just gonna hold a static shot. That's stupid. If no one's ever done this, I'm gonna do it how I would normally do it if I weren't doing this. Like, I'm gonna get the most amazing shot ever.
Fucking
right?
balls.
I was like, I'm gonna flip over us as we jump and pull the parachute. So that was a plan. I say, okay, I'm ready. He goes 3, 2, and I start to push forward and like run towards us. And when he goes 1, and I flick up and I see us jump. And then that's when I started to feel my stomach flip, right? And like, which I don't feel skydiving. I don't feel it flip skydiving, but I felt it base jumping. Like you're jumping, you know, like a cliff jump, you feel it. So it's like, it flips. And then that's kind of when I'm like, oh, I'm not playing a video game anymore. And you see the video kind of start to like wobble a little bit. And then like, I start to get really lightheaded because we accelerate towards the ground. And like my head just goes like back and like my eyes roll back. And you see the drone like, woo, woo, and it like flips like out of control because my fingers like moved because I started to pass out. Like I literally I passed out base jumping. And then we pulled the parachute, it comes out and we like, whew, and we like get back into like the normal feeling of, you know, not falling.
Yeah.
And I was like, I came back too. And then you see the drone like look around because I'm like, where the hell are we? I'm just floating thousands of feet in the air, like, and I can't see anything besides just where the drone is seeing like the mountain. And I'm like, where are we? Like trying to find us, like 10, 15 seconds. And I'm like, oh, we're over there. We're that small dot over there. So I like race over to us.
No way.
Yeah, like,
dude, what a mission.
It was crazy, bro. Like that could, like it could have just dropped out of the sky if we got too far. And then just like, I would have never known. And I just would have had to lift up the goggles and like just try to maybe hike up and find it, but it's so steep, like it would have been a nightmare. So yeah, like searching for us 10, 15 second, 20 second, whatever it was, find us like off in the distance, just race over. And then that's when I start like flipping around us and I can get more comfortable because it's more of a static, you know, not crazy, like free falling.
Yeah.
So I'm like flipping around us and getting some cool shots. And then he's like, hey, it's almost time to land. I was like, oh, frick, forgot about that part. And he's like, okay.
Yeah,
so
of course.
We're
I forgot about that.
No, okay, to be fair, we did think about it. Like I was like, yeah, I could probably land and like do whatever. So I was like dangling below him and like the harness is like pressing on like my nuts basically. Yeah. And I couldn't lift up my legs to be like that. Yeah. You know, like I had to get my legs flat, but I couldn't do it. And he's like, okay, well, we're gonna have to land standing. Yeah. And I was like, can we do that? I don't know. He's like, probably, the winds are good enough. And I said, okay, cool, let's try it. Yeah. So we have like 30 seconds till touchdown. I'm like trying to get the last shots I need for the video. And then I just like flip around and like drop it in the little grass field, cut power to the drone. And then like, I couldn't even get my goggles up because I was like, it was that time crunch. And we literally landed, I had my goggles on. I can like barely see the ground through like my nose hole. And it's just like, all right, 3, 2, 1, impact. And I just like braced for it and it was like, pow. And then we had to like run backwards because the parachute was pulling us. But we landed standing, which was sick.
Dude.
Yeah, and then that's when I got to actually take the goggles up. So I was blind the whole base jump. Like from literally the whole thing, jump to land, blind the whole time. Crazy, bro. And passed out for half part of it.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
That's so crazy, dude. Yeah. What the fuck?
So that was Northern Italy. I kind of want to go back and do it better, to be honest. I feel like I can get that first shot better. But I'll just do it.
Well, you're still the first one to do it in the world, dude. What the fuck?
Yeah.
That's like, like we said, that's like a Guinness record or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
So yeah, that was Northern Italy. Super fun. Then I went to Greece for a shoot. It was for somebody back in LA. It was like, hey, a buddy's starting a company and we need some FPV out in Greece. I was like, perfect. And they're like, we'll cover expenses. And I said, that's amazing because I'm looking for any opportunity, whatever. Went to Greece and it's a friend too. It's like a strong friend or a good friend from back in LA.
Okay.
And he's like, hey, let's go to like the other islands and make a video. So we ended up in like Santorini and like running out of gas in the ATV. And it was it was just all those things in travel that go wrong, like went wrong, but it was so much fun. Yeah. And it was just like, cause it's just, that's where you learn. It's like, it's a mindset, like being happy, being joyous. It's a mindset. And I think travel pulls that out of you because it puts you through that. Yeah. You know, it really like puts you through that stress and that like, oh, like, how am I going to get out of this situation? I don't even speak their language, but it's like, it always works, bro. Yeah. Always.
I love that. Yeah.
And like, that's the main reason. That's one of the main reasons why I love traveling so much. Because it grows you. And
definitely, definitely.
Yeah, so we went to Santorini. Santorini's okay. Mm-hmm. Food was good. I felt like Santorini was good for like if I was like married on a honeymoon.
Yeah, exactly.
Vibe. It's very like mellow.
Yeah.
Not a heck of a lot going on. There's not a heck of a lot of blue top houses things or church things or whatever, which I was hoping for. That was like the point of going to Santorini, but you know, made it work. And then we ended up going to Mykonos. Yeah. And Mykonos was a trip. We were only there a night. Went to Little Venice. Have you ever been?
And to Mykonos, no.
No, Mykonos is so fun. It's if you like to go out and dance. And like I love dancing. So.
Oh, nice, Ty.
So we go and we go to Little Venice. We go out. I'm like, hey, like I'm going. Like we're just gonna film like some party stuff, and we're gonna go back. Let's have some fun though. Like in the meantime, and we go to this spot that's like raging Scandinavian bar. It's called in Little Venice, Old Port, Mykonos, and it's like off season, but this place like always rages. So we're like, that's a spot. That's what we want. And I have these like foot-long strobe lights. Yeah. So like, all right, bro, like we're gonna cause a scene. I'm gonna put on my like purple glasses. Yeah. Like, you know, like and like, oh, I put on my orange raincoat too to like pop on it. Like all this stuff where it was like, we're just gonna cause a scene. Like there's no way around it. He had like these like crazy like colorful jacket on and like the silly glasses. And like, here we go. So, so we go in and we have a camera, obviously, and strobe lights. So I'm like trying to hide the strobe lights because I don't know how they're gonna react to it. Yeah. And there's like a long line to get in. It's packed. And they're like, you gotta buy a drink, you gotta pay to get in. And I was like, oh, no, we're media. And I hold up my camera to him. And he's like, media? And he's like, yeah, media. And he's like, for who? He's like, for you guys, you're social media. He like looks at his friend, he's like, how many are you? Like, I'm like, oh, just me and this guy. Like, we're just media. Yeah. He's like, all right, just go in. And he lets me in. I'm like, oh, sick.
Without paying anything, just
let me in. And I was
they're media.
Yeah,
they're media. They're fine.
Yeah. So lets me in. I'm like, bro, I can't. That's sick. I'm glad that worked. And then we start like dancing and doing whatever. We like get kicked out of the VIP section because same deal. We're like, oh, we're media, and they're like, okay, that's great, but get over there. I was like, all right, fair. Can't win them all. The DJ got mad at us because we had the flashing lights and stuff. Just stuff like that. I was like, bro, then flash your lights better because the lighting in there was sick, but they weren't using it. So we're like making our way around this like there's so many people in this small room and it's so hot and it's like you literally have only room to like move, like you have to like bodyguard yourself because you can't move without like you can't move your arms around.
Also packed.
Yeah, so in this place they actually invite you to dance up on the tables, on the bar even. Yeah. And there's always like girls up there. I was like, oh, I know what to film. Girls dancing on the bar. It's a really cute one. And I was like, oh, film her, interact with her a little bit. And this is gonna be really embarrassing if she ever watches this. Miss Maddie Fox at Miss Maddie Fox on Instagram.
Shout out.
Bro, no, she was a gorgeous human being. Yeah, bro, it's crazy how many places you can actually get into and things you can do when you just have a camera.
Yeah, dude.
Like it's absurd. Yeah, it's really absurd.
That's so cool.
So from Mykonos, I just went straight to Bali because it was
nice.
Yeah, because I was supposed to go to Switzerland and do some videos up there, but it was too much for me, so it's like you really have to be careful with burning yourself out. Definitely. As a traveler. Just traveling in general is a lot. It's like constantly putting yourself through those stressful, uncomfortable situations, and then to just rejuvenate like doesn't happen right away. So and again, I think I was sick. I was getting sick in Greece again.
Oh, dude.
Yeah, so it's just pushing myself too hard, like just filming too much. I just needed to kind of chill.
Yeah, definitely. It's good that you hear your body too. Yeah. Your body's talking. It's trying to tell you something, like, dude, chill.
So it's telling me to like chill out. So I moved to Asia without knowing anybody. That's my definition of chilling out. And I didn't think about it at the time because Bali to me was always like, oh, like, of course I'm going to go to Bali. Like, Bali's amazing. It's like, why would I not want to live there, at least for an extended period? So it didn't really hit me until I got on the plane to Singapore, where they were just all like Oriental. Like, and I was like, oh, I'm going to Asia. Like, I don't know anybody on that continent. Okay. So this is just how my life is right now. And again, like I'm like battling sickness, so I'm like trying
and
to.
how did you feel like? What kind of sickness were you?
I had a cough. I had a cough for a while, which led to like just like low energy and kind of like mucusy, like you know, just kind of gross, just like not wanting to do much, kind of thing. So I couldn't expend a lot of energy. So I get on this plane to Singapore, and it's like 14 hours or something crazy. I was like, wow, this is it. Okay, let's do this.
And how was your mind? What were you thinking? Like, what was happening?
I was excited overall, but I was not expecting how jarring it was going to be, which I should have been. I'm moving to Asia. I've never been to Asia. You know, it's like, it's going to be different, you know? But I've seen so much content from Bali and whatever that it's like, oh, like you kind of get an understanding of what it's actually like, which it is. Like I had a pretty good understanding of what I was getting myself into, but there's always the little like quirks and things that you didn't know, and you know, different like food things and different like cultural things and language barriers and stuff like that. That you're just like, oh, this is interesting. So much to learn. Really. So showed up to Bali sick, not motivated, not inspired by anything. And I had all this footage to edit, and I was like, wow, I felt pretty overwhelmed.
Definitely.
So for like a week, I was in Bali, and I was just like, I don't know what to do. Like, I'm just gonna go scope out different areas, like try to figure out where I want to live. But I was like dying also. So I was like,
God, man.
Oh man, switch Airbnbs because I only booked a week, and like it's full now, and it's like, a little bit of a rough transition, but like enjoying it nonetheless. And then once I kind of got a little healthier and started to like really delve into like, oh, like I'm gonna be staying in Canggu for a while. I got to like get to know like, you know, Indonesia a little bit better, and like I took a trip to Java and Sumba, and it's just been like a great experience thus far. You know, a lot of fun, cool cultural things that you just see every day and experience.
And I guess maybe a little similar to what happened to you in Hawaii and in LA, meeting those kind of people that you were talking about, also like-minded and doing the similar things that you're doing too. That happened to you too.
Yeah, definitely. So I came in knowing that I wanted to just link up with like content creators and be surrounded by that mindset, because that's what it was in LA, and it was night and day from Hawaii to LA. To be, you know, because I'm out here to build a career, realistically, you know, an online career in video, and I want people pursuing something similar around me so that we can inspire each other and build off each other. So that was the plan, and I just went straight for it, to be honest.
Fucking boss, man.
Yeah, I was like, well,
I'm proud of you doing these things. It's really cool to listen to this, and that you're sharing this.
So my idea, do you want me to go into like the whole Susan thing? Okay, cool. So my idea was, there's this girl, Gypsy in Sneakers, shout out Susan, and she's crushing it online, right? She posts like so much. She's a Bali, Indonesia, a content creator, essentially, travel, but like focuses on Southeast Asia. And she got a big following. She got like 200 something K on YouTube. And I'm like, you know, I've always been so inspired by people that are crushing it in the field that I care so much about, right? Like long form video and just video in general. So as I've encountered those people in Hawaii and LA and here, it's like I get this like massive wave of inspiration, right? So I'm like, and we have a couple mutuals just from like travel sphere. It's kind of small, travel content sphere. So we have like a couple mutuals, and I was like, oh, like I'd like to meet her one day, like knowing that when I go to Bali, blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, well, why not just put myself like in the right circles, right? So knowing how big she is, you know, like you have to kind of like work with that and understand like, you know, like it's weird in like the content space, you have to provide value to even get people. That's kind of just like a normal thing, right? Where it's like, you know, she's busy. I don't want to like take her time, and you know, like I'm inspired by her, but like, what is that? You know, it's like, besides just like, hey, like thanks for inspiring me. It's like, hey, cool. You know, it's like, no, like I want to be friends. Right. So it's like, okay, well, what could I do? And I was like that was just kind of like in the back burner. Like I was still because at this point I moved to Bali. I think I like sent like a DM to like a bunch of people, her being one of them. And like some people get back, but she didn't. And I was like, okay, totally cool. Like totally understand. She's big on Instagram as well. And I was like, okay, I don't even want to film anything because I'm like dealing with the sickness, like just moved to Bali. I saw her post on a story, hey, I'm doing YouTube coaching sessions, like one-on-ones. And I was like, just like in an instant, like my mind just went like 100 miles an hour where it's like, wow, I know exactly what I want to film. I know exactly how I want to film it. I know what I want to do. And the whole point was to become friends with Gypsy and Seeker, Susan, right? Yeah. So I was like, okay, cool. This woman has inspired me, and she gave me more inspiration for an idea. Like I'm just stoked that I know what I want to film because I got to Asia. I didn't want to do anything. So I was like, I signed up for coaching, signed up first slot. I was just like, earliest I can, I'm going to talk to this lady. And I hopped on the call and I said, hey, I don't really want your coaching right now. I'm sure it's great. Oh my God. I am here for a video idea. And she's like, okay, what's the idea? And I said, well, I want to be friends with you. Yeah. I was like, we're not friends. I don't want to be friends right now. Like, I want to make the most impressive thing you've ever seen about Indonesia. And then if you like it enough, then we could be friends. And then she's like, what? And I was like, and you know, I had to like kind of like explain a little bit. I was like, yeah, it's like a YouTube video, blah, blah, blah. Like I've had this idea, like a friendship application idea for a while. And I just think there's a perfect opportunity. And she's like, okay, I'm about it. Like, this is sick. And so it just turned into like,
Ty, what the hell? So, dude, I love the way your mind works.
Yeah. So it was like,
it's fucking cool.
It was just like, hopped off the call and I was like, okay, great. I have no idea what I'm going to do. Yeah. I just knew that I knew how to fly FPV very well. Yeah. So at the same time, my friends, well, online friends, I didn't even know him, Oliver, my friend Oliver, he was like, hey, I'm organizing a trip to Java. You should come. Yeah. And then I was like, okay, great, let's do it. So it was like, I had like a few days and I was going to Java. And like, I met this crew of dudes who are like in the filmmaking space, like travel filmmaking. One of them's an FPV pilot specifically. Yeah. And we took a 5-day trip to Java. We drove like 13 hours or something like ridiculous to go to Bromo. Yeah. And then we were going to hit like Tumpak Siwu, the waterfall spot. Oh. So I was like, okay, well, why don't I just take that trip and pivot it so that I can do like, so that I can make the most amazing thing that she's ever seen about Indonesia. Wow. Because I knew I needed to do something epic because she literally lived here for years, right? That's her career is built on showing Indonesia, right? So I was like, I'm not going to find a new spot. Why don't I just take what I can do and just show it in a way that no one's ever done it? Yeah. Right? So that was the thought. We go to Java and we're on this volcano. It's crazy. It's a really sick spot, like surfing down the volcano, whatever. And then I go too far. It was my fault. I was an idiot. I lost my drone. Lost it on the side of a volcano. No. Just gone. Yeah. It just dropped, gone. We hiked it for like hours on end. Couldn't find it. And it was like, we didn't eat. So we were like starving and we're like hiking up this like crappy gravel, like volcano thing, like no path, no nothing. It was like all these like peaks and valleys and like it could have been anywhere on the side of that volcano. Like it was a nightmare and like, it was a Hail Mary mission to find it for sure. Oh shit. Yeah, it was sad. So that was my GoPro 11 and my favorite drone gone. So $1,000 gone. Dude. But I had one drone left and a GoPro 10. So I was like, okay, we still have a drone. We still have a GoPro. Yeah. Let's run it. So we go back the next morning, re-get the shots, go for better lighting, and like that actually turned out like way sicker, to be honest. Yeah, so dude. It was like, because we were there, like it was like day 2, like we had to, you know, it was like we had to go, we had to do it. So we go and we do the thing, and I'm like shooting a behind the scenes video, kind of like to show Susan, like when I meet up with her, like, hey, this is the full story. So I want to make a YouTube video out of it too. Yeah. So like I'm juggling a lot, but like also just trying to get epic drone shots. So we finish up with Bromo. And we drive a few hours through central Java, through East Java to get to Tumpak Siwu. And to spare you the whole craziness that happened in there, we just went through like we just went through like local Indonesia where they're like, this is the first time that anybody's taken a picture with me because I'm white. right? So like, because they don't see white people often, so they're like boule photo, boule photo. Boule is like non-Asian, so they're like boule photo. My camera might die soon, just so you know.
Okay.
But yeah, so they took a picture with me because I'm white, and then, or with us because we're white. And then we didn't know where we were going to stay because there was like a motorcycle festival or something that booked out all the hotels. And we're like, frick. So Surya posts on his story. He's like, hey, is anybody in this area tonight that like knows anybody? Yeah. And we end up like meeting a local that's like, yeah, stay at our place. We met him at like 9 p.m.
No way.
Yeah. So nice. Such a nice guy. August?
Yeah.
August.
Yeah. The universe working there.
Yeah, bro. Crazy. Wow. So he was such a kind guy, and he's a local. So he's like right by Tampak Siwu, which is like that crazy, freaking the most epic waterfall in the world.
Really?
I think I've seen it a lot, and there's a volcano in the back, and there's this crazy waterfall. Boom. Yeah, bro, it's crazy. So I was like, and at that time it's nighttime, right? So I'm like, okay, we get there, and I'm like, okay, I have to do something, right? I have to do something epic. Like the volcano shots were cool, but it's not it. Yeah, it's not it. So it turned out from being like, oh, I'm gonna make a crazy edit to like, oh, I need to get a better shot. Yo. And I was like, this is pivoting all on one thing. How is this gonna work?
Oh my God, dude.
Like, I need this lady to be friends with me.
It was so much pressure, man. You've been through so much.
I love it though. I love the pressure. Yeah. It's so fun. So I was like, okay, this quad is this drone is waterproof in theory. I was like, what if I flew it into the waterfall? Yeah. Like, and then my friends are like, what do you mean? I was like, no, in the waterfall. And they're like, what do you mean? I was like, I'm gonna get this thing wet. And they're like, oh, frick. Are you serious? I was like, yeah.
What the fuck?
So I've tested it before, and I've sprayed it with water, and it works. But then I dunked it underwater, and the video, it just went black. I was like, oh my God, like I just ruined my quad. Like I just built it, waterproofed it, I thought, dunked it, and I just ruined it. But after it dried out, this was like months ago, this was like a while ago. Yeah. After it dried out, it was like, the video came back. I was like, okay, I'm never doing that again. And then I was like, but now I'm in this position where I haven't tested it again, but I need to do it the next morning. So we're going for sunrise. Yeah. It's 9 p.m. We're going for sunrise. I was like, okay, let me just put some more like goop on the like waterproof goop, basically on the part that I think is the problem area, and just hope to God that this works. And this waterfall is massive, bro. Yeah,
it's how is the drone gonna withstand the pressure of the...
Yeah, it's crazy. So I was like, okay, let's send it. So go to bed, let it dry, and then let like the waterproofing dry. Wake up, and I'm like, all right, it's time. It's like 4 a.m. We get in the car, and we're at the top of the waterfall, right? We're at like the top viewing point. Oh, cool. And I was like, let's just fly from here. Let's just get this thing over with. But like, it feels like you're on a skyscraper because you're that high up. Oh, shit. Yeah, it's a tall waterfall. And it's 1,000 waterfalls is what the name of it, because there's like all these different waterfalls, but there's one main one that I'm like, I'm flying directly into that. Dude, die. So I launch up the drone, just trying to find a line. First battery goes by, and like, I couldn't find a good line. I was like, okay, I'm not gonna send in yet. Second battery, I was like, okay, like I know this is like, I only have a few batteries here, so like we have to just kind of send it, Ty, like get going. And like, so I'm filming for the other video, and like my friends are flying their drones and like filming things, and I'm like, okay, this is like, just calm down. Yeah. But like, set up the drone, and I'm like, okay, like screw it. I'm just gonna put it in the waterfall, make sure I get like a good enough line, like call it good, see what happens. Yeah. So I'm looking right at the volcano, like in the background. You don't see the waterfall at all. I'm just flying right at the volcano. And last second, I just flip, and it just like reveals, like there's all these sun streaks that just like reveal the waterfall, right? It's like sun, and then just like water, and you're at the top of it's like directly over. I'm like bullseye. And it's like, I'm falling down probably like 100 feet, 150 feet. So like, what is that? Like 50 meters, 25 meters, something like that. And I'm falling down, and I like kind of spiral around it. Oh, dude. And yeah, you like see it like pumping. What? And then I just like keep spiraling, and I just go like directly through it, and you just do and I just go like through it. I'm like, let's go. like lose my mind, bro. I'm like
Ty.
stoked on it. I was like, okay, just bring it back. Because I had to fly it up like 1,000 feet again, right?
Nice, dude. What
So
the heck?
I flew it back up to the viewing area, land it. It's all good. The quad is soaking wet. And I'm like, let's go. Like stoked out of my mind.
I want to see that video.
Yeah, stoked out of my mind. So that was the first time I flew it through the water. And I was like, watch it back. And I was like, okay, we need a subject on the rock because there's this famous rock down there, right? So we got a good shot. We got something usable, but we need it perfect.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So there's like this famous rock that everybody stands on. It looks epic because you have this waterfall pumping in the background and it's larger than life. And like, they're just like, so you put like, I was like, Teo, I want you on this rock with a yellow jacket on. Just stand there and like when the drone whips past you, put your arms up. Yeah. And that's exactly what happened. So that was the plan. That was the plan. So we hike down and it's sunrise, right? Cool. So it's like, we're like, okay, it's pretty empty. And then like people start rolling in because we spent some time filming up top and there's people filming and it's like too many tourists. There's a dude trying to like scam us out of money. There was a lot going on that was just like, okay, it's not worth it to risk everything because there's too many people, too much going on. Let's come back again. And we're like, tomorrow morning, another sunrise mission. So we went back again. So we did it, So and we're just like, okay, we're just gonna hike straight down. We're just gonna like go be the first ones there and we're just gonna make this happen before the scammer gets there, before anything happens, before the tourists. We get down there and you have to like hike through this river thing and it's like knee high and I have all my gear and like my bag doesn't close because the zipper's broken. Bro, I was like, it was stressful, like looking back. But at the time I'm like, no, I have to be there. I have to be there and I have to fly this and I have to show like Teo on the rock. And I was like, okay, I know what I'm going to do. And I see, like, right as I'm like getting ready, I see the scammer guy like sprinting from the back of the waterfall. And he's like running and you see him like charging through the river and like going crazy. And I'm like, oh my God, like, how is this going to work? Like, Surya, we got to go now. Like, Teo, like, we got to go now. So I just throw on the goggles and like, Surya, if he comes, like, just don't let him push me or touch me or anything. And Surya's like, okay. And I put on the goggles and I just launched the quad and I was like, okay, I got one battery. Like, that's probably all I got, right? So I start flying and I'm like trying to find a line, take like one attempt, not clean enough. Second attempt, not clean enough. Like before I get in the water, I'm like, no, cut it, restart it, get back. And I like find this tree and I'm like, oh, okay, this is sick. So I like fly by the tree that blocks the waterfall and then I pass the tree and just like,
how epic.
It shows the whole waterfall, the whole thing in all its glory. So I'm like riding the ridge next to the waterfall and then I just do one of those like carving split moves. And like, that's where it kind of gets tricky is like, am I going to actually make it the right distance? Cause I'm like flinging myself essentially. So I fling myself and it's a bullseye. I was like, oh, I think this is it. Like, don't push the throttle. And it's like pushing back still cause my momentum. And then it just goes like directly in the water and it's like, and I fly out of it. And I'm like, let's go. Like get the flick right. Cause now I have to like time this flick. And that move is really tricky because you have to like flick, like everything just happens in an instant, right? Everything happens on an impulse of like, you're passing the person. So you have to flick and be facing forward to backwards in like a split second. So to time that and keep him centered is really difficult. So you have to like fly down. I'm like, okay, I see him. He's coming up and okay now. And I flick and it's just perfect, bro. I'm drifting backwards. And now I'm like, okay, I know there's a rock behind me. Don't drift too far. And it's like, I just have to like cut the shot. So I have to like, cause I'm drifting backwards. I'm like, I know I'm going to hit the rock if I go too far, but I'm like, I just need it long enough to hold it. Okay. All right. And I come out of it and I'm like, okay, I'm just coming to land. That was it. And I just like came back and landed. And like, I had to be like 10 feet from the rock, 5 feet from the rock. There's no way I wasn't like far off from that rock. Cause it's like, it sticks out. Like it was tight quarters, like right after the flick. So I landed. I was like, all right, boys.
Boss.
This girl is going to be my friend.
Yeah, definitely. Oh my God.
Yeah. So I come back and to Bali and I'm like rushing to get this edited out so that like, cause we haven't talked to each other since the call. So it's like weeks go by and I'm like, I don't want it to be like, swept under the rug and be like, who is this guy? And like forgotten. Yeah. So I was like, okay, cool. I put the edit together. I was like, all right, Susan, I'm ready. Like I got it. Like you're going to lose your mind. And she's like, okay, cool. So she comes over and we like put it on the TV over here and like, displayed it. So like, and then I got, I did it up. I had like confetti poppers and like I had like the workers like pop them when she said yes and whatever, if she said yes. And So I show her the video, and the video is essentially the YouTube video that I put up. I added a little bit to the YouTube video, but it's essentially like directed towards her. Like I mention her and have like a couple of jokes like referencing her. So she was very impressed by it. And I was like, okay, cool. So like, are we going to be friends? Yeah. And she's like, okay, yeah, let's do it. You know, one of those. And I was like, let's go. So I had the workers like pop the confetti cannons. And then I actually drew up a contract, a friendship contract. So we both signed it. So now we're effectively friends by law.
That's so cool.
So, so that's, that was the whole story about going to Java and becoming friends with her. So now I'm like, she's like a really good friend, right? So she invited me to Sumba. Yeah. Actually, that same day, it was like, you should come to Sumba with me. Cause she was just like that, blown away by the video. And I was like, okay, what's Sumba? She's like, oh, it's an island, like a remote island off to the east. And I was like, okay, let's do it. So for a week, I went with her and another vlogger and her video editor, shooter editor. And we just spent a week in Sumba, just adventuring around. And I really got to see like how she runs things. And it was really cool to see like her perspective and thoughts and how
that's so cool.
How that whole realm works. And it really it's just another wave of inspiration. And that's actually the reason why I'm doing the full on daily videos because she just does quantity over, like she just really pumps out a lot of content. I'm like, okay, how can I do that in at least for a month? Let me just try it out. You know, just do the YouTube thing for a month. Yeah. So that was the big inspiration for that. And it was really cool to be connected. And now I'm in that sphere of like content creation. And it's like, this is just where I've always wanted to be. You know what I mean? Like this is really sick. Wow. But it really shows the power of one decision and even timing, where it's like, she invited me to Sumba, like, because I got that edit done, I showed her and I rushed it. You know what I mean? Like I got it done as quick as I could. And everything just felt like it was like divine, right? How it just works out. But it was like, in hindsight, it's like, wow, that the impact of one thought. It started from seeing her story of like, oh, like I'm doing YouTube coaching is like, boom, I know what to do. Yeah. And I may not see the details. I may not know that I'm flying into the waterfall. I may not know that I'm going to get this crazy epic shot, but it stems from that knowing I have the potential because I have the idea.
Definitely.
You know, and the skill set to back it up. So yeah, that was honestly probably my proudest video to date was the Java video. Yeah. Just how the story came out, how intense it gets and how epic it felt. But yeah, it's crazy. Like just Indonesia.
Dude, yeah. No, it's really inspiring, Ty. All of this is really inspiring. That's been really cool, man. I love this interview and thank you for sharing all these crazy cool things.
Of course.
And I bet a lot of people are going to enjoy this so much.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. Sweet.
Well, then after this, I'll do the Spotify thing and I'll let you know.
Sweet.
But fuck, thank you very much for this.
Of course, bro. Thanks for having me.
So Let's cool, go. Really. Let's go. Yeah. What the hell?
It was a good time. And hope you guys liked. If you do, like, comment, subscribe. Tell me what you want to see next because I'm trying out a bunch of different ideas. And I'll see you in the next one.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So,